Hello. If I could please have everyone to take their seats, it's time to start the next session. And for all of the panel members for the session, will you please come up and take your seat? There is water up here for you if you want water, or bring your own. All right, so we're going to get started. So this next session is a panel discussion with the leadership team for the LSMCE. And so I want to start off by asking a question. Well, I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask, and then we will also invite the audience to ask several questions towards the end. But I want to start off with Dr. Jones, if he could please elaborate about the purpose of LSMCE. It's on. You got to put it right on. It's on.
Great. Well, first of all, we just want to thank all of the attendees for attending this inaugural event. You really made it a success, and from what I'm hearing, it seems as though the attendees really got a lot out of it. One of the things that we want to explain to the LSM family, as well as the individuals that are here in non-LSM institutions, how this was essentially put together and what the purpose of it is. So back in 2011, in the LSM, or the Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation solicitation, one of the funding opportunities were pilot, centers of excellence. And it only came out for that 1 year. And when it came out, it essentially said that we wanted you to develop a center that could disseminate best practices from LSM to non-LSM institutions. When we put a call into Dr. Hicks, we kind of asked him, well, exactly what are you looking for? And he told us that it was really an open canvas. They were looking for proposals that would give them ideals, what would be the most effective way, for disseminating that type of information. So our actually purpose statement is right up on the screen where you can read it. So essentially, starting off, we said that the center will assist 28 Midwestern non-LSM schools with developing strategies to improve their URAM students' performance, persistence, and success in STEM degree programs, and provide opportunities for their faculty and students to participate in a number of STEM activities, including workshop, conferences, webinars, and research internships. So that was our goal. And what we decided to do, in this case, since Chicago State was the lead institution, we said that we were going to look at those schools in Illinois, as well as all the states that touched Illinois. So that's where the six, so that's where the 6 states, actually came from. Now, in terms of responsibilities, Chicago State is the lead organization. And that was one of the requirements of the solicitation. So we provided project oversight and management. UPUI came in, and they'll be talking about this a little bit later. They dealt with the online resources, as well as what we're going to develop, what we call a cyber LSMCE, which is web-based. And then Oregon National Laboratory, we wanted to tap in and link to their multimedia center. And one of the newest partners that has been brought on is Governor's Guardians of Honor, who will be dealing with a digital library.
Okay, so thank you for that.
I do have one other thing, and Kim, you may want to elaborate on this. How did we come up with the 28 schools? You were very instrumental in that.
On the back of your conference booklet, you see the diagram of our service area. There's 6 states that we identify, as well as the On our logo, you see three rings that combine together, that the three organizations, we are working together to develop the project that we propose. So on our logo, it's reflecting the six neighbor states as well as the three organizations located in Illinois and Indiana to facilitate what were thought as pilot regional center of excellence, pilot regional. So we were looking at the region where we can provide service to. That was a 6-day. We look into the education statistic data file of the Department of Education or the government, and how research students going through and look at the enrollment picture of each university in those 6 days that are not an LSAM current recipient of National Science Foundation Fund. We look at the enrollment, we look at compare that with their graduation rate, particularly graduation rate of underrepresented minority. So the common element, it appeared to be a common criteria for selection is have enrollment over 15% of minority, but yet graduate less than 10% of students. So after going through and define our group, we come up with the 28 institutions, and 12 of them were invited. All 28 institutions were invited, but 12 had taken up on our invitation to come here. In order to assist these institutions, we need for them to understand and see what LSM and LSM model is about. And that's how we we make the invitation, and our partner have come to attend this conference. And several of them before departing have said, what next? We will be there and work with you. And that's very encouraging.
Crystal, if I may add one more thing, speaking to the purpose, because there has been some questions about just the LSAMP directors who are here. How can they play a part in the center and what was proposed? Keep in mind that when this solicitation first went out, it was supposed to be 3 centers, one on the East Coast, one in the Midwest, and one on the West Coast. We were the only ones funded. So it kind of changed our role when we spoke with Dr. Hicks, and he said, you know, what we really want you to do is extract these best practices from the 42 alliances and then disseminate that, you know, to those 28 schools as kind of a model study, the non-LSAMPs. But at the same time, you know, have a place, you know, on your website where you can actually disseminate what the LSAMP program has done effectively over the last 22 years to the nation, you know, so that we can reach beyond that, you know. So that's why we really need, you know, our LSAMP directors, you know, to really assist us with this mission, because it's really bigger than the 28 non-LSAMP schools.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. But you have the list of principal partners up there, but can you please elaborate about respective roles?
Sure, and I'll just talk about it just a little bit because they're going to come behind me and say, you know, what they'll be doing. So Chicago State, we're in our 20th year. So we're serving as the lead institution for the project. That was one of the specifications of the solicitation. So we provide the project management, the oversight, we give out the subawards, and make the yearly reports. IUPUI, with both Kim and Pam, are responsible for the online aspect on it. So the online resources, as well as the cyber LSMCE, which they'll be talking about, which is really a virtual type community, you know, for our partners to participate in. We then have Argonne here, who has been a partner, an active partner with the Illinois LSM program probably over the last 15 years. And we've built a relationship with them Well, we've been able to send over 150 faculty and staff to participate in various programs throughout the academic year. So we thought, they would be a very good partner to bring on, and form that, continue that relationship with. So in particular, they're developing a multi-center, multimedia center that the cyber and the hub will actually link to. And then finally, we have Guardians of Honor, who was brought on as a supplemental award to deal with a digital library. It's actually 3 phases. And today they're going to talk about the first phase with actually a standalone system to display the impact reports that all of the LSAMs have submitted to Dr. Hicks' office.
Okay, thank you. So, Kim, will you please elaborate about the strategies for building the partnerships? But before you start, I think it would be a good idea for you to remind people who you are and what your role is. So for everyone to introduce yourselves, because I'm not sure everyone really has a handle on everyone's role.
At my opening remark at the conference, I did mention that I came into the LSM program with the sheer interest of helping and promoting and encourage minority students to graduate, because during my study for my doctorate degree and research on the point of leakage out of the pipeline of the STEM, I'm very concerned during the freshman and sophomore year of students who are likely define whether they're going to continue with the STEM career or not. So serving as assistant dean in the School of Science at IUPUI, Indiana University, Purdue University in Indianapolis, the university name had confused a lot of people already, but IUPUI is a making of 2 universities that provide the STEM disciplines is Purdue University. So most of our students, or almost all of our STEM students, will get Purdue diploma. I served as assistant dean in the School of Science for about 15 years. And with my understanding about LSM and was able to implement the LSM program at IUPUI with the support of my immediate partner here, Dr. Pamela Shaw. Dr. Shaw came into Indiana from Kentucky, and I was one of the hiring project, hiring her as executive director of Indiana LSM in 2003. And with Dr. Shaw's expertise and knowledge about building partnership, and we have partnered to develop several initiatives supporting minority at IUPUI. Soon she had left Purdue University and joined Indiana University at Indianapolis. Anyhow, my full-time job is not with the LSM. I am a founder of the Urban Center for Advancement of STEM Education, because as we all talk about, we cannot fix it when the student get to us, either high school or college level. We need to start early. And my true passion is to prepare the best teacher I can get recruit to become math and science teacher, especially in the rural area and urban high-need area. And I have done that in the last 6 years at IUPUI and have brought in 4 different noise scholarship from the National Science Foundation. The Woodrow Wilson National Fellowship funded our program. We have graduated over 100 best possible STEM teacher, and my job is not done yet, because I don't believe that we can bring the best scientists and we hope them become the best teacher without preparation, a great deal more than 1 year of transition to teaching. So my job with the teacher is not quite done yet. My job with the LSM program is not fulfilled yet, because I've seen the growth and development of LSM alliances. from one corner of the country to another, but we never connected and tell each other what we are do consider best practice in our own little community. We don't have opportunity to exchange or keep those best practice to share to the whole nation, institution who want to do the work. So I envision what the proposal will call for. I immediately called Chicago State. It requires a senior partner, LSM. Can you be my partner? Because I really want to do this center. And Dr. Jones said, yes, let's do it. Let's talk through and see what we can do and submit a proposal. So Indiana University, Purdue University at Indianapolis had the privilege have very high-tech program. We are highly technical advanced institution in many aspects, from teaching, learning to communication and administration and whatever else we control by systems. So I told Chicago State, we will take the lead in set up a website, a cyber for the center, and we'll develop webinars and we'll develop the virtual activity that impact faculty and students from everywhere that want to check in with us and become our partner. So with that, we begin our groundwork to create what you see in the logo, create the website, and we build a team together, bring all the leadership together. What are you going to do with this? We have Dr. Shaw, is very experienced with connecting with students and faculty. We have Dr. Bahamonde, who is a tremendous mentor with record of achievement of our undergraduates. So we promote him as director of mentoring. So he will work with faculty, whoever want to learn how to mentor minority students. Dr. Shaw will be keeping us informed, connecting with students, and mostly will prepare them for graduate education because of her role right now as assistant dean in the dental school. And I'm going to turn over to Dr. Leroy Jones and the team from and the function of the Chicago State.
Sure. So for our team, of course, with me, I've actually been involved in these type of programs for 13 years. So I actually came from Chicago State, from industry. I worked for Amico Research Center, which then became BP Amico, which then became BP. Up in Naperville, Illinois. And while I was there, I probably noticed for the first time something that I hadn't noticed, because I was always very focused, was that when I went into different rooms, there were not people in the room that looked like me. Not one that looked like me. So it was at that time, that I started involving myself in different type of outreach programs, and I eventually ended up at Chicago State University as a professor of chemistry, and also as the project director for the Lewis Stokes Alliances for Minority Participation. So that's where, in a sense, I first cut my teeth. And actually, my mentor, who kind of trained me in this, is Dr. Mary Wilson Comer, that's in the back of the room, who thinks she's retired. But every now and then we have to pull her back in. So that's how I got involved, and we've been able to, grow it, ever since. We've established 2 years ago what we call the Center for STEM Education and Research, and it's really a hub where we leverage the different resources. So, for example, the center right now, we control about $2.5 million in grants. So from the PBIs to the U-STEPs, to the LSAP, as well as some of the others. With that, we also have Dr. Crystal Porter here, which we recently brought in. She also came from industry. She was working as a scientist with L'Oreal, and she is the associate director for special projects. And then somewhere in the room, I'm sure, my associate director, Ms. Leslie Thompson, if you are here. And I don't see Leslie, but she's been working with us about 7 to 8 years, helping us with these type of programs.
So would Argonne like to give a little background information of how you fit in?
Hello, my name is Meredith Brocious, and I'm the manager of educational programs and outreach at Argonne. We have a longstanding relationship with our Illinois LSAMP. I actually come from the K-12 world, so I started out as a high school teacher and in science, and have spent my entire career actually in the STEM world, both with developing curriculum, exploring learning in that space, identifying new and best practices, working with teachers, and publishing kind of things in those areas. So I kind of come to this with a STEM focus, and I'm learning all about the LSAMP model and ways and the amazing networks that you guys have already developed. The role that I think Argonne plays on this project, we are a national lab that is funded by the Department of Energy, and a lot of the work in the education world is around workforce development. So our vision, or our actual mission in Argonne Educational Programs and Outreach, is to inspire and develop the next generation of scientists and engineers. So I think you can kind of see how it's really great to be at the table here, because we need to inspire and develop for jobs at Argonne, whether it's postdoc opportunities or actual jobs or even internship opportunities. We want to kind of be in this space so that we're kind of the end of the pipeline, so to say. So if you guys are in the middle, if our K-12 people are at the beginning, and if we're in the middle, the people in the room are in the middle, Argonne would like to play a role in both the middle and also at the end of the pipeline. So we're here to help advise and support.
Rebecca, please.
Hello, my name's Rebecca Pitko, and I'm from Guardians of Honor. We're a DC-based professional services firm. Our role, we've been supporting the National Science Foundation, various programs throughout the foundation to disseminate best practices and impacts for the last 10 years. So we're excited to help your community to do just that with the digital library.
Okay, thank you. Kim, if you could just briefly describe the strategies for building the partnerships for the future.
Our chart will be building partnership with 28 institutions that we have identified where the majority of minority students chosen to enroll in the STEM, but they have not graduated, very many of them. So in order for us to convince our partner that the LSAM model does provide the outcome, does provide the result that their institution desired to have or to experience, I have to pilot that with one of my closest institution partner and friends at Marian University. Marian University Dean of Math and Science was here last night, and I don't think they are here at this table at this moment. But before we come and visit the university that we want to build partnership with, we better do our own homework to know the administration, the leadership, and maybe some indicator on the website that they are focused on diversity and maybe care about inclusion and campus transformation. So our strategy will be based on the number that we have found and proposed to the National Science Foundation as our target institution. Our next strategy will be get to know those institutions. And I did host on Sunday night a small party in my room suite upstairs called Get to Know You, and invite personally the individual for non-LSM institution to come in, ask us questions, and we get to know their name, their face. And our next strategy will be a lot of road trip that the leadership team will be making visit throughout the next 12 months. We hope that by the second year, we will have firm up no less than 10 or 12 partners that we will be working with. What are we working with them? What is in it for our partner? Would be the question everyone asks. "Well, why I want to be your partner? We trying to figure it out ourselves. What is the hook? What is incentive for to be a partner with the LSMCE? As you know, we start our clean slate, start the center from ground zero up. We create a website, but it's empty. The content is empty. We don't have the best practice to post on, which we want to, and we will have it after this conference. We will have 19 or 20 best practice that being carried out by various LSM alliance around the country to be posted on our website. And we will continue to do that until we have every answer to every question that our partner could have had for us. And there will be a team of 4 or 5 of our leadership team come and sit down with the Dean of Math and Science Engineer, the Provost, or the Dean of Diversity, and we talk about would you care that we will help you and your faculty to improve the performance and graduation rate of your underrepresented minority. And if you do, would you sign these agreements? And we will take it seriously. We will spend the time working with you, listen to you, and ask you what do you want next. If you want to start undergraduate research program, here is Dr. Rafael Bahamande, who have run the Diversity Research Scholar program. He knows how to get it going. And we will tap on the resource and skill set of the center as well as those we have learned through this conference, and we will be matchmaker. We will help the institution who inspire to help minority to be successful, to develop program of their best. Are they ready for? Not everyone ready for supplemental instruction because of cost. Not everyone is ready to have international experience because they don't have that in the work yet. So every piece, every element that LSM program had been proven to be successful will be deployed together with the partner and the leadership that we identify that can share that kind of information and best practice too.
Thank you. So you hit a little bit about the information that LSMCE will have. So Pam, can you please elaborate a little bit more about the information hub and the way that the information will be disseminated?
Good afternoon. I'm Pam Shaw, and as Kim talked a little bit about my background, I'll give you a little bit more, and it may help you understand what we're going to do, and I'll interject my role with the Information Hub. I'm actually from the state of Indiana, but I spent 20 years in the state of Kentucky. And while I was there, I actually had my doctorate in dentistry. I'm a health professional, but I also have a master's in public health. But while I was there, I spent a lot of time working with K-12 programs for students interested in careers in research and also in the health professions and engineering. Later, I came to Purdue University to become their Indiana LSAM director in 2003. And then in 2004, Purdue also got the Alliance for Graduate Education for the Professoriate Grant, which is AGAP. So I became the Alliance Director for the Midwest Crossroads AGAP Alliance. So while I was at Purdue, I worked primarily with undergrad students, students going into masters, students working in going for PhD programs, postdocs, and students going into academia as faculty. So my role will be primarily to work with those different constituencies throughout the program to support them to develop their LSAMP initiatives and to help them to become successful. And that's what the Internet Hub will be. It will be a place, a virtual place. We envision having webinars. We envision having virtual hours where students can actually contact people who will work with them and support them, where faculty will find resources for funding, resources for support. Sometimes we just need for faculty to learn about opportunities on their campuses where they don't know about those opportunities. And I remember as an LSAM director, we got bombarded with a lot of research opportunities for students nationwide. And so those opportunities, there are a lot of different things that we will have available. We will have the information that Kim talked about, the best practices. We will have opportunities for people to tell us what they need and for us to give them back that information. So we envision a virtual place to have a lot of the best practices available for those non-LSAM participants to be able to come to and find a wealth of resources.
Thank you. So Meredith, you started off by telling us how Argonne is involved. Can you elaborate about the aspect of LSMCE?
Sure. So we have a lot of resources that I think sometimes are hidden. It probably happens at your institutions also. That I think this is a great opportunity for us to identify things that would be of need to this community and kind of make them multimedia based. So for example, if there's a hot button research topic, particularly nanoscience or material science is really big for us, we could actually have guest speakers or guest scientists available to give presentations or do research on the fly, kind of like what they do in the medical industry, where you can kind of see an operation going on at the same time. We can kind of open up Argonne in that way, using multimedia through video-based things. The other thing that I think that we could bring to the hub would be also helping understand how to enculturate students moving from an academic environment into maybe a more work environment, particularly government. So as I work with students that are in their internships or postdocs that kind of swing through our offices, the thing that I'm starting to notice is that if you've been in school your whole entire life, you know how to do school well and you understand that hierarchy. But you don't necessarily understand the unwritten rules of a corporate world or research, an R&D organization, or particularly a government organization, which has its own whole culture. So I think there's some insight in having an outside partner that isn't an academic partner that could provide resources, opportunities, conversations around how do things change? How do you take that knowledge that you learned in academia and then start to apply it? And how do you start to maybe get some confidence and grow and give guidance in that way? And I think the last thing is that we can also be a connector. I mean, we would obviously share Argonne opportunities and resources, and I know everyone kind of knows of the National Lab System as the internship vehicle. There are lots of other opportunities that are across our labs, and I think we can be that hub, that opportunity to kind of explore connections and relationships for the individuals in this space to connect with Argonne and maybe even other labs that may or may not, that may be closer to their research interest or maybe even be physically closer to them. So we feel we have a lot to bring to the table, and we're really excited to start to kind of explore that space. It aligns very well with the next direction Argonne education is going. We really want to start to think about what does a pipeline look for us, and what do career paths look for us in different ways for basically that end result of being able to hire the best and the brightest in these fields. So this is an opportunity for us to sit down with those of you who are in this field working with those students and starting to think about how we can do that.
Okay, and Rebecca, could you please share how your organization would do that?
Sure. So, can everybody hear me? Is this loud enough? Now I am. Okay. So, the 2005 LSAMP program evaluation that was conducted by the Urban Institute reported that approximately 75% of the alliances were engaging in some form of documentation and dissemination of either best practices or impacts. Maybe it was scholarly journal articles or posters that were presented here today. And this information and knowledge that's produced, a lot of people have indicated it's not widely shared with your partners. So this information is both of enormous benefit to other LSAMP alliances and also to the new non-LSAMP partners. So the digital library that we're developing, and I'm going to show you a kind of prototype application in a minute, it's going to catalog, store, and make those sorts of historical records accessible to broader stakeholder audiences via the internet. The digital library is going to build the program and the center's knowledge management capacity by providing the capability to sustainably preserve, easily retrieve, and more broadly disseminate this sort of intellectual capital with the community. I'm going to start the application. Is that okay? Or do you want me to wait until the end?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is this on? Hello? Okay. Let's see where we are. Oh. Thank you. Okay. So our team, this is part of the first phase of the digital library.
It's not showing.
Oh,
Don't quite know why.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if I can help. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just gonna close
Are we
it.
going to use the end of the presentation at all? Okay, I'm sorry.
But why isn't this showing? That's what I don't understand. Pardon?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Is that what it's doing? Yeah. I mean, you know, that's not right.
I think it's in the PowerPoint itself, maybe, no?
Are you, is this running?
Yeah.
It's just not showing there.
Is this the PowerPoint you wanted to play?
Can you just exit?
Yeah, I thought I closed that.
That's what was popping up. So this isn't a PowerPoint.
Uh-oh.
While the team is trying to find the PowerPoint for the
Person, Michelle. Michelle, is there a tech person that we can get?
yeah. We thought that the collection of the digital library will serve a global purpose for everyone, not only the LSM communities, but will cover all the research scholar out there want to find and help us broadcasting the success of the LSM program. We happen to know an AP press writer, and he said that he run into so much problem to find resource to write and support our program. So we hope that the cyber LSMCE will be that, the centralized depository of information about activity in broadening the participation of minority around the country and maybe beyond the border of the USA. Other countries do have the similar problem, and if we are going to put it on the internet, it will be worldwide distribution.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so in phase one, which we conducted a breakout this morning, we're assessing the needs of the center and the stakeholders, which is LSAMP alliances and the non-LSAMP institutions that are joining. In phase two, we're going to be aligning the technology requirements and the needs identified in phase one to develop the full digital library. What you're seeing right now is a letter from presidents of LSAMP alliances showing strong endorsement for the program. And this is the beginning of the standalone impact report viewer application, which is the prototype application I was speaking about earlier. So then pages of impactful publications, reports, news articles are then displayed. The user can skip the rest of this introduction. But then they're also available under here if anyone wants to go back and to view those or read the full text of those publications. So the thing that's really nice about the way the information is displayed is that it's very intuitive to a user. You can just go and click on a state, and you can see any of the alliances and the institution of higher education partners that are within that state. And you can view that alliance's impact report. But let's say that you don't know the alliance you're interested in a particular institution. So say, for instance, Auburn University. You can also just go directly to the institution and their affiliated impact report here. The most recent program evaluation is available. Bless you. As well as program impact data that's been aggregated from 1992 until 2012. And for users who are not, this isn't intuitive to them, they can go to a listing over here for alliances by state. There's drop downs, and you can select that way. So first, I think the one thing that this shows is that, each individual impact report in and of itself is, one discrete portion of information, but combined together and displayed in a user-friendly format, all that information combined is much more powerful than any individual piece on its own. And just the fact that every alliance has submitted an impact report, which they are not technically federally required to do, shows a lot about the alliance's investment in the program themselves. So as the saying goes, actions speak louder than words, and the fact that every active alliance has current impact reports, it speaks volumes for the dedication and the project leadership, the staff, and the students. The content included the impact reports vary, but the contact as a whole provides overwhelming evidence of what is being done to increase the representation of underrepresented minority groups in STEM. The application, and eventually the digital library, is going to show stakeholders of the broadening participation community and the public the important work that's being done by the LSAMP projects. It's going to provide a rich resource from which to harvest future case studies and best practices to inform LSAMP and non-LSAMP community activities, seeking to increase the quality and quantity of underrepresented minority students pursuing STEM baccalaureate degrees and careers in STEM fields. Can I just leave it up? Okay.
Thank you so much.
And the work, it had just begun. We will continue working through this in the next couple of years, and once it's ready to go, everyone will have a full access to retrieve the data information that's necessary for them to write a grant proposal, to report to the media the work that's done in their local region or their own campuses. So I hope that is going to be a centralized distribution of reliable information about our effort at broadening participation of minority in the STEM field and the success story of those students who have achieved far beyond what they think they're capable of doing when they were young. So with that, Dr. Porter?
Well, those are all the questions I have, but I'm sure the audience may have some questions. I see a hand raised already, so unless there is some other information that you'd like to share that wasn't covered?
One
Okay.
thing I can say is it is a 5-year grant, and we know we will have money for 5 years. So we will continue hosting the conference from the alternate site. This year is at Indianapolis. Next year will be in Chicago. And we will fully embrace your participation and contribution from the LSAM community about best practice and share what the best strategy that we have implemented on our campus that brought the positive result that we desire.
I think this is something that is long overdue, and I hope it's not too late. But I want to pick up, Dr. Nguyen, on the word reliable, because what really is needed is some reliable source of information about LSAM programs. And I'm even talking about which ones are still alive and who is the project director. Because right now we're in a situation where we don't even know where the bridge to the doctorates are. That we have to send emails around and say, do you got a spot? You know, where are they? Who got it? And that kind of information is not readily available to students, and it's not readily available to us. I mean, we have to go search the NSF database to see who got the most recent grant, but that doesn't tell us anything. So I think we're desperate for a central source of reliable information, and also some way that we can, that we can communicate and disseminate all of the positive impacts, and also to the right people. I mean, we are also the right people because we need to learn from each other. The new alliances, those are, I mean, the new folks who don't have alliances, those are the right people. But they're also the right people in terms of policymakers, state and federal agencies, legislators, staff, et cetera. So that puts a whole lot, I think, a lot of hope on what it is that you're doing, which goes so far beyond the scope of what you thought you got yourself into. So the question is, how are you going to do that?
We're going to need your help.
We will need your help, and I understand exactly what you're sharing. Why we have research assistant to type in individually the name of project director of 624 different campus, verify whether they still there, whether their email still working. It was a task for 3 months that our research assistant have done. Our website will be updated as a most possible way, because Dr. Jones would be a link in with Dr. Arthur Hicks. Dr. Arthur Hicks will share with Leroy what's going on, and hopefully we can disseminate that information to everyone through our website.
But most importantly, Juanita, and you said it a little bit earlier, we really need the help of the LSAMP project directors. And, you know, I totally agree with you. Those directors that are in here, you know what we've had to deal with in terms of trying to essentially dismantle the program over the last 2 or 3 years. And I think that we can really use this to kind of galvanize and get out there to show, you know, those congressmen, those senators, that the investment, you know, is certainly being used wisely, and for it, it can also address those many employers who say they cannot identify quality students of color to fill STEM positions. Hopefully we can point them to the center and show them from each alliance 200 students that fit that profile. But we really need the project director's help that's in this room, and we'll be reaching out to you for that assistance.
One more thing that I want to add, the benefit I envision will be gained by all the LSM director and coordinator will be when you have something great to advertise, to broadcast to the new media, they don't just ask what you do. They will ask what other people do, what the national statistics look like. And when I asked my reporter, so what the percentage of underrepresented minority graduate from college with a STEM degree? I have to do almost 2 or 3 hours of search data and make sure that what I said is correct. So if we could possibly get that sort of reliable information to the press, media, press is so important in our work. Make sure you get out there, be the pioneer and speak out and help them write up the success story. I think the power of the press is so powerful that we can change if we are using what we have as a weapon. The data, the resource, all that information would be very useful as we lobbying more support for our students and our programs.
Any other questions? Anybody else? Okay. Well, will you please join me in thanking the panel? Thanks. Okay, so
Speaking Talking about the press, Dr. Joan held a radio interview live at 2:30.
Okay, so we have a little bit of a break. Our next session is at 3:15. No, I'm sorry, 2:15 until 3:15. And they're in the breakout sessions in the salons A through E. The student sessions are always in the last one, E. And with that, we come back afterwards at 3:15, and we close, and we'll be done at 3:30. So thank you.